Hi, I'm Senator Malcolm Roberts and I'm in Rockhampton with David Swindles and Rob Pye. They're both fishermen. They've been fishing for many years and I am absolutely stunned and shocked with the stories I've heard in the last hour and a half. So we're just going to pick a couple of really startling stories. Can you tell us what's involved when you catch black jewfish?
Well, just for me to go and catch a black jewfish, which is a quota on of 20 tonne for the commercial sector.
So that's for a year. The whole commercial sector gets 20 tonnes of jewfish.
Just 20 tonnes for the whole year. Now, I think this year it took 48 days to catch that quota. After that, we were not allowed to go and catch any more. But while I could go and catch them, just to go and catch this fish, I had to ring up fisheries every morning before I left the boat ramp. Then when I go out,
in Brisbane,
I've got to ring up Brisbane on an automated system, which isn't real good. Then I've got to go, once I go out there fishing, if I catch a fish, when I come home, I've got to ring them before I get to the boat ramp. Let them know how many fish I've got. I've got to the boat ramp, then I have to take them to the wholesaler. Now, when I go to the wholesaler, all this period of time, I cannot let that fish out of my sight.
So you can't even have a leak?
Oh, geez, I can't. Wouldn't want to leave it too long. But anyway, then I can't let it out of my sight. Then once I've sold it to the wholesaler, I then have to do what they call a CDR, dock it to the wholesaler. Then he can have it. Then I have to ring up Brisbane once again and tell them who I've sold it to and the weight and the number of fish. And I thought that would be enough. Then I go home again. I then have to put it into my normal logbooks and to send that to Brisbane again. And I have to send that to Brisbane within 7 days of entering it in, of catching the fish. Now, these regulations are over the top. Now, this state government has to come in, do something for the fishermen. I'm sick and tired of the fishermen being the lower class. It happens all the time. We are not to be stood on. It's about time the public and the state government got up and stood up for us.
Now, fishing is one of the biggest, I think it's the world's biggest recreational sport, maybe apart from golf. Yes. So you're not opposed to recreational fishermen, but if a recreational fisherman catches a black jewfish, does he have to do this?
Now, if a recreational fisherman catches a black jewfish, all he has to do is bring it in whole. He is not allowed to gut it or anything, same as we're not allowed to gut it.
He doesn't have to report it.
He doesn't have to report it.
So just one thing before we move off your topic and go onto one of Rob's. The 48 days of catching black jewfish for the whole industry, 20 tonnes. Last year it was 48 days. So the other month and a half, the other 10 and a half months, there's no black jewfish caught.
There's no black jewfish caught commercially, so the public doesn't get any fresh fish once again. Like the net-free zones when they brought them in, they stopped 36% of the wild-caught barramundi being fed to the Queensland consumer. Now, don't our Queensland consumers have some rights, or is it only the recreational fishermen that they're looking after? And as far as I'm concerned, they're only there to get votes. And votes do not put feeds on the table.
Rob, can you tell us quickly about the costs involved? You've got what I would call a dinghy. It's a bit more than that, but it's a dinghy. We'll get some photos of it. And it costs a recreational fisherman or anyone who wants to buy that same boat with a motor, outboard motor, about $25,000. What do you have to pay for it?
Well, if I was to tear the backside out of it now and to replace that boat, it would cost me upwards of $70,000 without me putting equipment on it to shoot away and retrieve trawl nets as they class it with fisheries.
And even though the fish take notice of the moon and the tides and what have you, and the weather and the climate, they don't pay attention to whether it's weekend or not, as far as I know. But you can't fish on the weekend even if the tides are suitable and the moon's suitable.
I can fish in certain parts of the river, but with the net-free zones, when there was nets in the river allowed, there was classed as weekend closure, which allowed the commercial fishermen only to work until 6 p.m. Friday night. It was closed from 6 p.m. Friday night to 6 p.m. Sunday afternoon, and then that was open again on 6 p.m. Sunday night for the commercial to set their nets. So on the weekend, if you called it weekenders and pros clashing, they saw that weekend closure as a way of softening the blow on it and avoiding the fights or whatever it may be. Now the net-free zones have been declared. the net-free zones still have the trawl areas. The beam trawl area here is still closed for weekends for no apparent reason.
No data, nothing. A lot of these regulations are not based on data. They go against the data. We haven't got time now, but you've given me phenomenal examples of how this is actually hurting the fish that they're supposedly trying to protect.
Yes.
It's making it worse for the barramundi and other fishes.
Yeah, well, not only the barramundi. Like the barramundi, they have problems. They eat their own young, and up to a fair size. Actually, I've caught fish years ago, like probably a 30-pound barra, probably had 3 fish up to 10 inches long in it.
So you've actually noticed that
Yes.
there are fewer fish now with the restrictions that you've got on you, with fewer fish now than before when there are no restrictions, because what you did was keep the balance.
Yeah, well, what we used to do, we were allowed to keep until the new logbooks came in, and they threw the logbook from the offshore fishery at us for the trawl fishery, and out of about 20 different species that you can catch in the offshore trawl fishery, we only catch about 5 here. So it's a useless piece of gear that we've got to fill in that doesn't reflect what we can catch. What we can catch is prawns. We catch different varieties of prawns. We catch small mullet, herrings, gar, and similar fish. If we catch the prawns, we can keep them, but if we catch herrings or gar or small mullet, we've got to return them to the water.
The people who are being hurt here, not only the fishermen, but everyone who eats seafood in Queensland, because we're bringing in more imported seafood because the locals can't catch it, and it's just absolutely insane.